All right, so today we're going to take a deep dive into something you flagged for us.
Okay.
It's about Gerson, the Brazilian midfielder.
Right.
He got injured in that Brazil-Colombia match.
Yeah.
So we'll unpack what exactly happened, what it means for Brazil, for his club Flamengo,
Okay.
and what the options are going forward.
Sounds good. Yeah, I think it's fascinating how,
Right.
one player going down can cause such a ripple effect.
It's wild, right? You think one guy out of 11.
Yeah, exactly.
What's the big deal?
Huge.
But it can totally change the game. So Gerson,
Yeah.
he started for Brazil, but you could tell right away he wasn't 100%.
Mm-hmm.
He'd picked up this knock in Flamengo's Carioca final,
Right.
which, if you don't know, it's like the Rio de Janeiro State Championship, super competitive.
Yeah.
And then it flared up again against Colombia. He had to sub out
Oof.
in the 72nd minute. And I read he was in tears coming off the pitch.
Wow.
That's got to tell you something, right?
Yeah, I think that speaks to just how invested these guys are. It's
Right.
not just a game for them. It's representing their country.
Absolutely. And the timing for Brazil, it just couldn't be worse.
No kidding.
Not only is Gerson now doubtful for this massive match coming up against Argentina,
Right.
but another key midfielder, Bruno Guimarães, he's suspended yellow cards.
Yeah, he's out too.
So Dorival Jr., the coach, he's got some serious thinking to do.
He's got a real midfield crisis.
Total midfield crisis. Because it's not just about plugging a hole,
Exactly.
Gerson brings so much to that team. His vision,
Oh, yeah.
his defensive work rate, that's critical.
Especially against Argentina's midfield.
Exactly. They've got Enzo Fernandez. They've got Alexis McAllister, Rodrigo de Paul.
World-class talent.
Serious talent. So some names are being thrown around as possible replacements. We've got Allison from São Paulo.
Okay.
Andreas Pereira, who's at Fulham.
Small.
João Gomes over at Wolves.
Yeah.
And then there are these maybe less experienced but super interesting
Oh, interesting.
possibilities, Andrey Santos and Ederson.
Hmm.
It really makes you think, though, how will this shakeup in the midfield affect
Right.
how Brazil play against Messi's Argentina? Will they have to switch things up?
Totally. I mean, each of those players brings something different to the table.
Absolutely.
You look at Pereira, his time in the Premier League, that could give them some stability. Holding the ball under pressure from Argentina's press,
Right.
which is something that Allison, with his more, kind of dynamic style,
Yeah.
might not be as strong at that.
And then you got to think about Flamengo, too.
Oh, right, of course.
I mean, for them, this is a major worry, Gerson. He's their absolute linchpin.
It's vital.
Often called their engine, their metronome.
Mm-hmm.
He runs that team. He dictates the play.
He unlocks those defenses.
If he's out for a long time, it's a huge blow to their ambitions in the Brasileiro,
Yeah.
in their domestic league,
Of course.
and especially in the Copa Libertadores.
South America's biggest club competition.
Exactly, the big one. And, losing a player like that for that long,
It can really throw off a team's rhythm.
for sure.
Their whole tactical setup.
Totally. People are mentioning Thiago Maia as a possible in-house replacement,
Yeah,
but their depth in midfield is going to be tested.
big time.
A lot is riding on how serious this injury is for Flamengo's season.
No question.
And going back to those Brazil options for a minute,
Yeah.
it's fascinating to weigh them up, Lucas Moura. His experience could be so valuable
Oh, absolutely.
in a high-pressure game like that. And then you've got João Gomes. He brings this real,
Yeah.
grit and tenacity.
Yeah, like a real fighter.
Exactly. And then there's Andrey Santos. He's out on loan at Strasbourg right now.
Okay.
He's a really intriguing prospect.
Interesting.
He's a bit of an unknown quantity at this level.
Right.
But sometimes that hunger to prove yourself, even in a game like that against Argentina, it could be a huge motivator.
For sure.
So we've got these two big questions hanging over everything now.
Okay.
How bad is Gerson's injury really?
Right.
And who's going to step up for Brazil and for Flamengo?
Yeah.
We should get an update on his condition on Thursday.
Okay.
So everyone's waiting with bated breath for that news.
These situations really highlight how fragile things are in football.
They do.
You lose one key player and it can have this
Yeah.
domino effect on everything.
Absolutely. So here's something to think about for you.
Okay.
Of all those possible replacements for Brazil,
Right.
which one do you think would force the biggest tactical change?
Mhm.
And why would that change give Brazil the best shot against Argentina?
Interesting.
Let us know what you think. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
Thanks for having me.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah, it was fun.
We'll talk again soon.
Sounds good. Cheers.